Hello everybody, Kris Gethin here, and this is State of Union, where you get to ask me anything that you want, and hopefully I'll be able to answer your questions. But what's been happening with Kaged Muscle? So much. I'm surprised that I've still got my hair. We've launched, obviously, some amazing products, being the multivitamin, organic, I'll have you know, and our new naturally flavored cinnamon French toast, which is a new bad boy favorite for me, especially cooking with it. I love cooking with it. And then obviously we came out with plantain and a lot more. So anyway, I'm gonna get straight into your questions here right after I talk about a couple of other things that are coming up right around the corner as we go into 2021. So we have the Get It Done 2021 signups out there live right now for you to join. And guess what? It's free. So my programs, the 8-week muscle building video trainer, the 8-week hardcore video trainer. We also have trainers from our athletes, Tawna Eubanks, and from Michael Wittig as well. So you get to choose which program that you want dependent on your goal. So you can follow these videos every single day for your transformation, and you'll get into the opportunities of winning a crap load of prizes, okay? One of those is gonna be meeting up with the KM athletes, maybe getting some workouts, maybe having a cuppa, may have to social distance, we don't know. But there's gonna be a lot of prizes, and it's gonna be absolutely awesome. And what better way to start 2021 off with a free program such as that? Okay, so you can sign up for that right now. We also have launched our amazing product, Outlive 100. Outlive 100. So this has been a long time in the making. If you guys follow me, you'll know that I have been taking a concoction for many years, usually one that I have to hold my nose and chug down, which I'd call my Live to 100 concoction, because my role is, I feel in life now, and my purpose is to reduce my biological age. And one of the things that I like to do is go through a detoxification process. I like to take things like apple cider vinegar, turmeric, my prebiotics, and obviously a plethora of greens and polyphenols and all this sort of good stuff. But I wanted it to taste good and be very convenient for you to take, as opposed to, and cheap, as opposed to spending like 9, 10, 12 bucks on a juice at the juicery, which would be organic, that's what you'd be paying for, or spending 30 minutes juicing, cleaning, chopping, all that. No, taking that guesswork out. So that is very exciting. And Clean Burn Amped. So this is a fantastic new clean burn that you only have to take a couple of times a day. It's more compliant with other countries, and this actually has our organic pure caffeine in there as well. And then we have a new product, again, that's just around the corner. It could be a branched chain amino acid product, but I'm not gonna give out too much on that one. I'm gonna get into your questions instead. So, question number 1 from Ramirez. What are your thoughts on adding more pump ingredients to pre-caged? There are already plenty of pump products added to pre-caged. So, this is the issue that you're gonna run into. Number 1, citrulline is by far the best blood vasodilator. And I'm not talking about citrulline malate, I'm talking about pure fermented citrulline. So that's going to be I believe the best blood vasodilator that you can have. Of course, you've got things like arginine, but they're like a precursor. They're not going to be as good as citrulline. And the thing is, we already have a scoop size that is like 30 grams. Do you really think that we should go 32, 34? We have fitted in to that scoop as much as we possibly can, from patented ingredients, organic ingredients, fermented ingredients, to give you the effectiveness of what a proper pre-workout should provide, okay? And that includes a badass pump. Now, if you are stacking that with in-caged, I'm sorry, but you'd be hard-pressed to find a product out there that is going to give you as good of a pump. Maybe you could get more jacked on something else out there because they got like 500 megs of caffeine and it's probably not organic caffeine, but then that turns into a blood constrictor, not a vasodilator. So Pre-Caged has been voted #1 on several platforms for a reason. It gives you the pump. Okay, which is better? Creatine HCl or CreaClear? One isn't better than the other in my views. It all depends what you want. So it fits perfectly, pardon the pun, in Pre-Caged and Re-Caged because it is a very concentrated form of creatine and only requires micro dosing. Again, if you were to use creatine like a monohydrate or a CreaClear, then it's going to take that scoop size even bigger. But I take CreaClear on my non-training days as well. So I have the creatine HCl on my training days. Non-training days, I'll use a CreaClear because it's the very first time I've ever been able to use a monohydrate. And keep in mind, a creatine monohydrate has the most studies supporting its effectiveness. However, I've never been able to take a creatine monohydrate up until now because their particle size is way too big. I'd find the permeability and solubility to be inferior. And I would just get an upset stomach. And a lot of my clients did as well. However, now we have the CreaClear, which is a very superior soluble creatine. I don't have any issues. So look, it's entirely up to you. If you're a creatine monohydrate taker, take CreaClear. If not, take the creatine HCl. It doesn't really matter. They both do their job. Are you ever going to come out with a carbohydrate powder? Maybe. I prefer to have my carbohydrates in solid foods. The only time that I suggest or take a carbohydrate powder is if your workouts exceed about 2.5 hours. So when I'm doing my endurance work, so if I'm doing a long run or if I'm doing like a 6-hour bike ride, then I will take carbohydrates. However, I take Vitago. Vitago have done an amazing job with their powder. So you know what? I'll continue to take theirs. But do I feel that you need it for a weights workout? No, because your liver and your muscles store plenty of glycogen, providing that you're eating plenty. And if you don't take carbohydrates immediately post-workout, you can possibly take advantage of having the natural release of your growth hormone levels at the same time, as opposed to it being blunted. How big of a staff does Kaged Muscle have? Are you located in Boise? We're located everywhere, but our headquarters are in Huntington Beach. I'm in Boise. We have a very, very small skeleton staff because everything that we get from Kaged Muscle, we reinvest in the product. We could invest in marketing and having diluted ingredients and and not having all the certifications and the tests that we go through and expand our numbers in the office. However, that's not our model. Our model is to reinvest in the product and reinvest in coming out with new products that we believe is the best in the world. Do we want to be the biggest brand in the world, the best-selling brand in the world? No. Do we want to have the highest quality in the world? Yes. So it doesn't come down to quantity for us. It comes down to feeding our purpose through quality, and that's where we feel that we're going to gain your loyalty. Why don't you make larger versions of your products? Because you can buy 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. It doesn't make it any cheaper for us to come out with bigger sizes. And so, for instance, with Pre-Caged, In-Caged, and Re-Caged, I suggest training 5 days a week. So what does that give you? It gives you a month's worth. And there is another caveat to having larger sizes. If we want to stock the shelves of like a vitamin shop, mom and pop stores, then they prefer smaller sizes. So we found this out when we had the 5-pound casein tubs. No one wanted to stock it because it would take up a lot of space where they would have several SKUs. So that's why we have the slightly smaller tubs. But like I said, it doesn't make it any cheaper for you to buy several tubs over us having one big one. Do you have any plans on releasing a mass gainer? Yes, we've been talking about this for some time. I've always been against mass gainers. The reason being is that they're usually full of empty calories and terrible ingredients. But we are considering that now with more whole food ingredients along with our proteins, okay, to make sure that it's a very high grade mass gainer. Because one of the things that I've noticed with my clients over years, they've come to me because they haven't been able to put on mass. And then I find out what they're having, and they're having these terrible mass gainers. And not only that, they're eating burgers, fries, chips, cookies, thinking that that's going to help them put on size. It's not. It's not going to fuel your muscles with the amino acids or the proper glycogen or the omega-3 oils for hormonal production, for energy, for rest, recovery, repair. It won't do that. So we are talking about now, and we've been working on this, on providing that to you in a mass gainer. So keep an eye out. What is your biggest tip to improve mind-muscle connection? You know what? This may sound like a sales gimmick or opportunity, but it isn't. Taking a pre-workout, so take pre-caged, and add extra citrulline to it, okay? Because that's going to help improve the blood flow. So let's say if you're training back, you're training a posterior chain muscle that you don't see in the mirror, you find it hard to get that contraction. By having a better blood supply to that area, you are going to feel that pump a little bit more. If you get a pump a little bit more in that area, you're going to get a better mind-muscle connection. With that mind-muscle connection, you can improve your contraction and break down that muscle tissue much more efficiently. And stretching the fascia. So in between your sets, stretch the muscle as much as you can to stretch that fascia. And once you do so, it gives the muscle more room to grow. Okay, what are your thoughts on joint supplementation? Yeah, joint supplementation can work for a lot of people. However, what I have found is that most people don't need it. Okay, so I was one of those people that used to take joint formula. It's from Twin Lab. God, it's over 20 years ago now. Because I was dealing with inflammation in my elbows, in my knees, in my bicep tendons, and I just thought, okay, well, I'll take this joint formula. What I figured out after is that I had a lot of inflammation in my body from the inside out. I was taking cheap supplements. I was eating healthy food, but it wasn't organic, it wasn't wild caught, it wasn't grass-fed. So I was taking in a lot of high omega-6 food fats because I'm eating farmed fish. I'm eating meat that is full of antibiotics, as opposed to, like I said, organic or grass-fed or wild caught. And once I started eliminating those foods and going more towards the ones that I just mentioned, I found the inflammation would subside. And then I started supplementing with good fats, high omega-3s, DHA, EPAs. And again, I found my inflammatory responders just went right down. So I never had any issues with my joints from then on. So touch wood, I don't have that issue. So I think a lot of it is dietary and making sure, you know, that the foods that you eat and your supplements for sure are healing you and not potentially harming you. From Joan, can I have some advice from you on preparing to compete in an Ironman? That's a long one. Well, I am going to give you a sales pitch here. I'd say go to Amazon.com and purchase my book, Man of Iron. Because in there, I lay out absolutely everything, especially if you're a person that works out with weights as well. I iron out everything in there on what you should do to consider an endurance event like an Ironman, okay, being a bigger person that works out with weights as well. So if you're weight training, okay, so you're going in one end of the spectrum, your strength training, your bodybuilding, and then the other end of the spectrum, endurance, long distance, how do you merge the two together? And in Man of Iron, I feel that I've done a pretty good job, okay? So anyway, thank you very much for joining me, guys. Thank you for your help, your loyalty, your support throughout 2020. I know it's been a crazy one for the majority of us, and let's hope that 2021 is going to be that much better. And I can guarantee it will be, because you can start off right now by signing up with one of our programs of the Get It Done 2021. So you can sign up right now, guys. Thank you very much. Kris Gethin, CEO of Kaged Muscle, and I am out.